You're listening to The Granite Discourse, a New Hampshire-based podcast with real discussions. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And for early access, subscribe to Patreon for just $1 a month. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Anthony Henry.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to The Granite Discourse.
I'm happy to be here.
It's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
We've been friends on Facebook for a little bit now.
Yeah.
And recently you've decided that you're going to run for office.
Yes, I am running for New Hampshire House of Representatives in Rockingham County District 13, which is town of Derry.
Okay. And what brought you... Well, you've been pretty politically active for a young guy.
Yes, I have.
And what started it all?
COVID, really. That's the simple answer. I got involved as a COVID activist. I was in 6th grade when COVID happened.
Damn.
I remember, yeah. I remember those last days before the world ended quite well. Mm-hmm. I remember the day the lockdown really began. We went to the grocery store and it was nuts. Mm-hmm. Like the line was around the store. I remember the news. I remember my parents getting the email from the school saying, "Oh, we're going to be closed Monday. Just Monday. It's a long weekend." And it became a week, month, and the rest of the year and all that.
Were you worried as a young kid?
Well, I think when you're a young kid and you hear that, you get worried naturally. My parents were a little worried at first, but I think everyone was at first. And then after a couple months, I think people started to see through it pretty quickly. At least we did. And it did irreparable harm on me and my generation.
Yeah.
And I see it to this day.
How about your friends?
A lot of them fell behind in academics. We were learning online, and that is not the same as in person. You're not able to ask for help the same way. You're not able to engage with your teachers and your peers the same way. And you can get distracted very easily at home. So It was really half-baked. And that happening during a very critical period in our times, especially socially for middle schoolers, I think it did harm that can never be undone to me and my classmates. But we powered through it eventually. My parents and I started going to some school board meetings at that time, started voicing our concerns with a few other patriots in our community. And after a while, and by a while I mean not until February of when I was in 8th grade, so it'd be 2022.
So 2 years later.
Yeah, 2 years later, they finally got rid of mask mandates. I was at the meeting where they kind of decided to get rid of them. I had seen a teacher yell at a special needs student, calling them a terrorist for having their mask down.
Really?
Yeah, and I talked about that during public comment at a school board meeting. The school board did genuinely look kind of concerned about that. I'll give them that. And 4 days later, they repealed the mandate.
Wow.
So I don't think it was me. I think it was a lot of people giving them pressure for a very long time. A lot of those, well, not a lot, I think 6 out of the 7 of them are not on the school board anymore. So I think it really did a number on them.
Now, were they voted out or did they just leave?
Some of both. A few of them retired, a few of them got voted out. And after COVID, I just decided to stay involved. I kind of saw that this stuff is important. It's not going to be this exciting all the time because COVID was a very politically charged time in our history. It was very exciting. And, I kind of noticed it. It's not going to be like that forever. I want to stay. I want to learn the boring stuff. I want to meet more people.
It can come back. It could happen again.
Oh, yeah.
All
it
that
absolutely
could happen again.
So I stayed involved. I kept going to school board meetings. I started reaching out to town councilors, state reps, getting to know them, and I just show up. That's really the easiest way to get involved here, and I think only in New Hampshire can you show up and be that involved and have that much of a voice in your community.
Yeah, for real.
That's what makes us such an amazing state to, be involved in politics in.
I wish there were more young people that felt like that. I know there are a lot of them to begin with, but I had somebody about a little bit older than you tell me that they didn't think that voting mattered, and I said no. You can make a difference. One person can make a difference in the state. You see,
absolutely,
a lot of local races come down to single digits.
Yeah, this year, March 2025 is when we have March 2026, rather. Excuse me. we had our local election here in Derry, and we had a library trustee race decided by 2 votes.
Oh, wow.
So it can get down to the wire. Your vote does matter.
Yeah, and I think there was a special election. I think it was up in Berlin for state rep. I think that was won by 8 votes.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just campaigning and getting out there and getting as many people out as you can.
Exactly.
How has the campaigning been since you started?
Oh, it's been great. I've actually really enjoyed door knocking specifically. The momentum I've had, the positivity I've had has been, I didn't really expect the amount of positivity I've been getting.
That's good.
I've had very little, go away, get off my lawn type of people. I don't know if I've been lucky. I still have another month and week to go before the primary, so plenty of time for that to happen. But I've really been enjoying the campaign trail, even though I've been so involved. I feel closer to my community than ever before, and it's a really good feeling.
Now, did you said that you were going to school board meetings? Is there like a representative for the school? I think that's a position that you held.
Yeah, so not long after that, so COVID kind of, in my eyes, ended in 8th grade. And when I became a freshman in high school, I decided to run for the student representative position for the school board.
Yep.
I was running against 2 people, one of which was the daughter of a current school board member. The other was the commander of ROTC. I was a freshman. They were a junior and senior, respectively, and I beat both of them. My classmates, I believe, remembered how involved I was when they needed it, and I think that's why I won.
That's good.
And I won twice more. I believe the superintendent told me I'm the only person that's been elected for 3 terms, 3 years. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. I had a lot of fun with it. It wasn't that, I don't want to say difficult, but basically every meeting I just gave an update on, things going on at the school to the school board, things like that.
And you were also involved with the Young Republicans as well, right?
Yeah, well, I've, after all that, I became something of an activist, I guess. My show started. I'm a fellow talk show host like yourself, America's Ass with Anthony Henry. And so backstory behind that name, it's the first insult I've ever had hurled at me by a liberal. It was actually my friend's girlfriend. It was freshman year of high school. That was the first real insult I've ever had. And at the time, I was kind of working with public access in Derry to develop my show, figure out what the structure of it's going to be, what the name of it's going to be, and I thought that'd be a funny name. Owen, who is the director of Derry TV, awesome guy, by the way, he agreed with me. He said, I guarantee there's no other show with that name. So we went with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've had a lot of big names on there, too.
Yeah, I've been really blessed to have some people, include from both sides of the aisle, actually. I'm kind of surprised at a couple of the people that have agreed to come on.
Like who?
Well, a couple notable Democrats would be Jim O'Connell, who ran for executive council in District 4, Nick Germana, one of the floor leaders on the Democratic side, Jonah Wheeler. Mm-hmm. I've had a few prominent Democrats on, and I treat them the same as I treat my other guests. Kind of like you, I don't prepare much.
No.
I just kind of sit down. Whatever comes to my mind is what we talk about first, and then it kind of snowballs from there. And I really think that's the proper way to do an interview, and that's why I appreciate your show so much as well.
Thank you. We had I had Jonah Wheeler on last week.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah.
I feel old actually with being around all you guys. He's 23. You're 18.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it. I don't know it for a fact, but I believe of the younger candidates this year, I believe I am the youngest.
Are you?
I believe so. We have a lot this year. There's, I think, 10, 15 candidates under 25 this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause New Hampshire state representatives are always seen as people on fixed incomes, retired people.
Well, the average age this term is 67 years old.
Yeah, there you go. Damn. So COVID was what got you into politics. What do you think is the driving force for you in the State House right now? What do you want to work on when you win?
Well, for one, I want to keep expanding education freedom. I believe that education needs to be a free market. Drew Klein, I'm sure you're familiar with that name somewhat. He's on the State Board of Education. He's been a big advocate for school choice, and he really came up with the best analogy to me, was that education needs to be like the salad dressing aisle at the grocery store. Take Caesar dressing, for example. You might have regular Caesar dressing. Next to that, you might have creamy Caesar dressing, or light, or, whatever. Keeps going. Different types of the same thing. I think education needs to be that choice. Take Derry, for example. Derry's schools are kind of failing right now. Our test scores are in the toilet. I believe only something like high 30% is proficient in math and reading. And some people don't want their children to go to those kinds of schools.
I hear that.
Yeah, well, my parents chose Derry as our home because of that. We had good schools at that time. Somewhere along the line, we started going down the toilet. And, parents want their students to be as successful as they can, and I believe they ought to have that right. So that's number one. Number two, this year especially, we saw an increased effort by the Democrats to impose an income tax. That needs to be prevented. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And lastly, defending your basic constitutional rights, specifically First Amendment and Second Amendment to me. I had a bit of a brush with the First Amendment this past year myself, to get into in a minute, but I think suppression of free speech is a really big issue in this country right now. So,
do you think that issue has gotten better over time, or do you think? I feel like it was a lot worse under the Biden administration.
It certainly has, I believe, but it's going to be an issue that's always there. You just need to fight it.
You can never let your guard down.
Yeah.
So, how'd you get in trouble this year with First Amendment?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to tread lightly in how I say this because my high school certainly wouldn't be happy that I'm talking about it. I think this is the first time I'm publicly talking about it. I'm just kind of taking a risk talking about it, but I'm graduated. They can't really revoke my diploma now. So we had a situation last year where, I'll just say it bluntly, a security guard had a very inappropriate affair with a student.
Oh.
And Pinkerton Academy, where my high school, is semi-private. They are not governed by the school board. They are their own entity. And they kind of did their own internal investigation into that when it happened. They found nothing. That security guard was kept on staff for a long time without repercussions. And while that student was still a student there. Eventually, he was finally fired after a different student stood up and pointed that out. But the community found out as well. They were not happy that Pinkerton kept, a pedophile on staff for like a month. And I noticed it as I was student rep at the time, my final year, because I was a senior. I was very upset about it as well, and I didn't quite know what to do. Not really it's kind of above my pay grade there. And
well, and you're a student, you shouldn't have to be.
I shouldn't have to be, you're right, yeah. And we have this, he's kind of gone somewhat viral since all this happened. A guy named Gator Boy. He's an online journalist. He covers a lot of true crime in the area. And he started covering this case and really going in depth into it. So I contacted him to, see what I could do. And he said, well, I'll send you a shirt. You can wear that to a school board meeting. That'll send them a message. And I did. I wore that shirt to the school board meeting. And I lost out on a scholarship opportunity because of it.
Oh, really?
Pinkerton's administration, about a week or so later, they revoked a letter of recommendation that I would have gotten for a very major scholarship worth about $10,000.
Oh, no.
So I paid a price for speaking up, for representing my classmates.
That stinks.
It does, but I would have done it 100 times over.
Yeah, it's just too bad that, they talk about how we have whistleblower protections and all that, but it's too bad when you see these stories of people standing up for what's right and they get hammered for it.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of people, both students and teachers, thank me for it.
I bet you did.
I did, including the student that had that happen to her. She thanked me privately, and that all made it worth it to me. And that was when I really, I was thinking about running for state rep at that time. This all happened end of last year, like October, November, around that time. And I was thinking of running for state rep at that time. I knew we were going to have at least one of our 10 representatives be retiring. But what that showed me is that, an average person like myself that's just kind of there, involved, can do one little thing and actually make something of a difference for one person or one group of people. So that's when I kind of pulled the trigger. That's when I started telling some of the other state reps, I'm going to do it. And here I am now.
Mm-hmm. So you just graduated high school this year.
Yeah, I graduated in June.
So being fresh out of high school, what are the biggest issues in school? Why are public schools struggling so much? What do you see from the inside that could be the issues that we need to tackle?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, the number one thing is I think my generation's attention span is just completely shot. And I think part of that is that COVID learning thing, but people just struggle to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not really quite sure how to elaborate on it, and it's kind of hard to describe since, I struggle with it too myself. I think every person in my age group does, but I think with the introduction of just new things like social media and all that, it just kind of rewires how our brain works. We're not able to learn for long periods of time anymore.
Well, even television.
Yeah.
Going back into, I was listening to a podcast. It was a friend of mine that was on there, but he was talking about how that since TV was invented, the attention span of children has gone down to something like 3 seconds. That's why you have, like when you're watching TV, they have to switch from scene to scene so often because they want to keep your attention. If they showed a kid a program that was one scene for too long of a period of time, children just lose attention. So this is what analytics is. Like you have your YouTube channel. I have my social media and my YouTube channel, all that. It shows you how to create a video that's has more of a chance of becoming viral.
Yeah, exactly.
They say, make sure you get the first, and they say it, you want to be able to get people hooked within the first 3 seconds of a video. And now I had Melissa Bailey on a few months ago, and she was posting clips, and she said that you basically have to have a video that's less than 20 seconds long. People do not pay attention for longer than 20 seconds. And I've seen that where I'll post a video anywhere from 15 seconds to a minute long. They really don't pay attention after 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's crazy. And you wonder, like, how are people learning anything anymore? So, yeah. So, with that being said, how are schools supposed to educate people?
And that's where I kind of think that whole free market and education thing comes to play. Schools need to start working for the students again. Schools need to find out how to adapt their lessons that are tailor-made for the students.
Mm-hmm.
I learned under Common Core, and it simply doesn't work for everyone. I felt I caught on to it pretty well. I did okay, but the person next to me might not be doing so well. The person next to me might be doing a lot better than I am. You never really know. And I think schools need to find a way to change their curriculums, make them fit the student better.
Yeah. So does that mean like a IEP for every student?
I'm not sure about that. I just think that curriculums need to be more tailor-made for the student. The teachers need to notice how they learn, really observe them, and make sure that what they're teaching suits how they learn.
Do you think that like boys, for instance, do you think that we need to start having more physical activity for kids, especially young boys, where you go to school, how long do you sit behind a desk?
Yeah, that is a good point. One good thing I liked about Pinkerton was that you actually had to take 2 phys ed credits to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant 2 semesters, which I liked a lot, and I think all schools should employ that. But I think a good way to put it is it needs to be well-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be all sitting behind a desk. It needs to be doing something like phys ed. Or
did they teach like shop?
They do. Pinkerton had a very robust CTE program that I very much enjoyed. I took small engines where you pick apart lawnmower stuff, put it back together. I took woodworking. I didn't take these, but they had everything from cosmetology.
Mm-hmm.
They had animal science. They had full-on automotive, electrical.
How about home economics?
Middle school, we had that. I don't.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm sure Pinkerton did. I just never took it. But yeah,
Are they teaching kids how to balance a checkbook?
they did have a class called personal finance, and they had another class called math for the real world.
Okay.
So I believe they went over like taxes and things like that in those classes.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you take those?
I did not. I had my schedule filled with other things, but luckily I do know how to do some of those.
Yeah. What is the mindset of the average 18-year-old right now as far as politics goes?
I think a lot of people in my generation are just fed up and want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And I think that makes this whole influx of young people like myself and other people running for House this year, it makes it unique nationwide. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my classmates, many of whom are voting for me, and they've told me I'm going to be one of the few people they do vote for this election. They just think both parties are the same. They think both parties are out to screw everyone, and in many ways they're right. I think the Republican Party is much better at not screwing people. but I think the whole mentality of government sucks is where my generation's at, and I mean, you really can't blame them.
No. So, if you were to like define yourself, you're running as a Republican.
Oh yeah, I am a Republican. I think I lean more on the liberty side of the Republican Party, but I am definitely a Republican.
Yeah. Are a lot of people your age, what are they thinking about, like the Iran war that's going on?
Well, I think a lot of them are just wondering what we're still doing there, myself included. I'm hoping that whatever the outcome is, it's positive for America, but really too early to tell at this point.
Yeah. How about like government spending? Like when I was probably a little older than you is when I really started getting involved in reading about politics. And Ron Paul was like a big inspiration for that. And the biggest thing that I think he obviously talked about was the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
And how much the Federal Reserve affects all of our lives with the policies that they implement. Do you think that young people are tuned into that?
I don't think they're tuned into that enough.
No. How about yourself?
Well, on the topic of libertarian Republicans such as Ron Paul, for one, I agree. I think if Ron Paul was elected in 2012, America would be a much better place. And it's certainly something I've noticed. I mean, Thomas Massey has started wearing the debt clock. Yeah. And it's really frightening.
It is.
And former Derry resident, might I add, Thomas Massey. He used to live in Derry, New Hampshire.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he's a New Hampshire. He was a New Hampshire resident after MIT. He lived in an apartment in Derry, and then he lived in a house in Windham.
Oh, that's cool.
And he went to Kentucky.
Nice.
Which makes a lot more sense when you think about his political philosophies.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's because a lot of like the young people you would think would be shifting towards like democratic socialism because it's an easy sell.
Yeah, and certainly some are. I think at Pinkerton we actually had a little more people leaning on the conservative side of the spectrum than the liberal side.
Mm-hmm.
That might be because of the towns that went to Pinkerton.
Mm-hmm.
Derry, Auburn, Chester, Hampstead, Candia, Hooksett, and Fremont. Those 7 towns, I don't believe there's one Democratic legislator from any of those 7 towns.
Yeah.
So pretty red towns. Naturally, Republican families live there. Those parents impart some of their viewpoints to their kids, and their kids may either keep them or reject them. But from that, I think a lot of my classmates inherited that Republican point of view.
How many seats are in your district? Just one?
Derry is a very bizarre district because it is 10 seats at large.
10 seats.
So a lot of the larger towns will divide it by wards. Manchester, for example, they've got 12 wards. They got 2 reps per ward and a few floterials. Derry does have wards, and we use those at the town council level, but not for state rep. We have 10 reps. They run for the whole town at large, and if you're in the top 10, you win. It's that simple. Derry's pretty solidly in the Republican column. So if you were to win the primary, there's a good chance you're winning the general too. My battle is going to be at the primary. We have 14 candidates running, and remember, 10 advance on either side. 8 of those 10 seats are incumbent filled, so there's 2 openings.
Okay. And you said there's 14 running for that?
Yep.
Okay.
14 running for 10. The Democrats only got 9 this year.
Really? Well, you said it's mostly Republicans in that area.
Well, they improved from 6 last time. So.
Are you born and raised in New Hampshire?
Oh, yeah. I've lived in New Hampshire my whole life. I was born in Manchester, lived in Derry since then.
Mm-hmm. And so what's it been like growing up in New Hampshire for you?
I love it here. I love the geographic diversity. You can be in the mountains for a little bit, and then in a couple hours, you're at the beach. It's quiet, relatively. It's simple. People are nice. I honestly want to stay here forever. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Have you seen a change at all?
Derry, I have. Derry is growing. Derry is one of the largest towns in the state. We had the big boom in the 90s where we went from something like 5,000 people to 20,000 people.
Really?
Something crazy like that. And we're at 35,000 right now. And I anticipate we're going to have another big boom because of Exit 4A. We are having a new exit built that is going to dump directly into Derry on I-93. And the timeline is kind of all over the place. Some people are saying it'll be done at the end of 2027. Some are saying more 2029 or 2030. We really don't know. We don't know 100% what it's going to look like for Derry. But I believe it'll cause, another big boom in town. I don't know if that'll be a boom in people moving here. It'll certainly be easy to come here. So I think we could see some increased economic development. But what that boom is going to look like, I think, is going to be vital to where Derry is decades from now. And I think those in office at the town and state level in Derry need to pay close attention to that, as I would be doing if I'm elected.
With the show that you put on, America's Ass, how'd you get so many candidates on? Like, so many, not candidates, but so many people on there. So many prominent figures as such a young person? Like, how did you make those connections?
I really don't know. Honestly, I've just been out and about. Many of them I meet in person and I mention, hey, I got a show, you can come on, and they end up giving me their card. Other times, if I don't know them, I'll work up the courage to call them.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, they've all said yes. I've had very few people deny me. So, like I said, I've really been blessed with that show. I've enjoyed doing it. I'd like to get back to it at some point. I've been pretty busy. I had to finish high school, running a campaign now.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a freshman in college later this month.
What are you going to college for?
I'm going to be going to St. Anselm College. I'm going to be majoring in political science.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And goal is law school.
Okay. So you want to be a lawyer?
Yes.
Nice. What kind of lawyer?
Obviously this could change a couple months from now, but right now what I'm looking at is family law and estate planning.
Okay.
I think that little niche is interesting. And what I like about, wanting to be a lawyer is that it's kind of similar to being a doctor or an engineer in that it's a very wide field and you can choose a niche within it. You can have that niche and be good at your niche, be known amongst the other niches, cross referrals and things like that. So, yeah, just something I'm passionate about.
As far as like your philosophy goes in life, like where do you get your inspiration from?
Politically?
Yeah, politically.
Well, weirdly enough, my parents are both Republican. They're not exactly politically involved. Well, they hold signs for me now that I'm running, but they're not really doing much after COVID. The only 2 people that have been really politically involved in my family, one is my great-grandmother, who I obviously never met, Sophie DeMatteis. She was from Revere, Massachusetts, the Boston area, and she was basically a financer. Like, my grandmother always told me that the mayor and city council would come over to the house for dinner sometimes, and like my great-grandmother would tell her, hey, don't go in the dining room, they're having a meeting, and just host meetings like that. And she was involved with the Kennedy family in some way, I actually have a letter signed by Jackie Kennedy thanking her for donating to the Kennedy Library.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's one of the coolest things I own. I have it on my wall. So I probably got some of that bug from her. The other person would be my great uncle, my grandfather's brother, John Henry. He was elected to the Revere City Council in his early 20s. I think he served 2 terms, became a city planner in Boston after that, and then served as Revere City Clerk from 1976 to 2009. So he did 33 years as city clerk there. And
wow.
Yeah. So he had a lot of service in Revere community. So those are really the only 2 people in my family that had some direct political involvement besides myself. And oddly enough, both lean liberal.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're getting letters from the Kennedys, right?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts. What about on like non-relatives? Like, are there any books that you've read that have inspired you, or has there been any prominent figures that have inspired you?
Well, one book that was recommended that I read last year was Atlas Shrugged. I'm a slow reader, so it took me a bit because it's so long, but incredible book.
And you kids have short attention spans these
days.
Exactly.
Exactly. But the book is amazing. It's life-changing. I'm not going to speak much about it because I think people should just read it going in blind.
I've never read it.
Go in blind. Don't read anything online about it. Buy the book. Read it front to back. It's an experience, and I think you'll see where really big political figures such as Ronald Reagan and Alan Greenspan got some of those influences from that book.
Yeah.
It's an amazing book. And as far as figures, you referring to like state or historical or
any?
Well, my favorite president is kind of an unorthodox one. I don't think it's one a lot of people would choose. That's James Garfield.
Okay.
That's one people don't really hear a lot about because he was only president for like 9 months, a little less than that actually, because he was assassinated. Well, he was shot halfway through that, and then spent the other half dying in bed because medical doctors were not very good at the time.
Just sticking their fingers in the wound, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. But what was so fascinating about James Garfield, well, for one, only president to be a minister. He was a Baptist minister.
No.
He was a Civil War veteran. He was a college professor. I believe he might have been college president as well. He was a congressman for something like 20 years. Very well known in Ohio politics. And he actually went to the Republican National Convention making a speech for someone else, nominating them to be president. And his speech was so good that all the delegates turned and nominated him instead. And
really?
He did not want it. He vehemently said he did not want it, but eventually he had to accept it because everyone wanted him. At the time, there was a big divide in the Republican Party between kind of the spoils system and I think they called them the half-breeds. It was James Blaine's faction. He was a senator from Maine, kind of represented the more liberal Republican faction, and the conservative stalwarts that, spoil system was like, giving jobs in exchange for political loyalty, things like that. That was headed by President Grant, who was running for a 3rd term at the time, non-consecutive, and a senator named Roscoe Conkling. And they kind of controlled nationwide politics because they controlled New York. And Conkling's guys were pushing for Grant. Blaine was running for president himself, and Garfield kind of emerged as that compromise. They put Chester Arthur on as his running mate to satisfy the Grant Conkling faction, and Garfield was really one of the most honorable people we've ever had as president, I believe.
That's quite the history lesson.
Yeah, well, I'm a presidential history nerd. I just find I find the men that have held that office to be so fascinating. For one, you have to be crazy to do it.
Yeah.
I really do believe all presidents are sociopaths to some degree to want to hold such a high position of power, but really they're just fascinating. And I've always found Garfield's story to be fascinating. His rise and his premature fall. They did make a show about it last year, which I was really happy they did on Netflix, called not Ride by Lightning, that's Metallica. Death by Lightning. Death by Lightning. I think Michael Shannon played James Garfield. Nick Offerman, who was Ron Swanson from Parks and Recs, he played Chester Arthur. And Matthew McFadden, who was from Succession, he was Tom in Succession.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good cast, really good show. I think they did his story justice, but he'd be my favorite president. And I think that's an answer people don't hear often.
No. Going back to what you're saying about people being, I mean, they got to be kind of a egotistical person to want to be president. But even back then, though, from what I've read, it wasn't really like a huge deal to be the president.
Yeah.
In America in the 1800s, like prior to Lincoln, they didn't have Secret Service.
No.
And you used to be able to see the president riding down the street in D.C.
Up until Kennedy, presidents used to be able to drive publicly. President Johnson was the first president not to be allowed to drive.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Man. Who do you think the worst president was?
Well, I think it would be... that's a good question, because I got three names in mind. James Buchanan was president right before Lincoln. A lot of people would say him, because he kind of let the Civil War happen. But at the same time, I think the Civil War would have happened either way, regardless of how incompetent he was.
Why do people say that he let it happen?
He was what was called a doughface, and that was a term for a Northern Democrat that was sympathetic toward the South for slavery.
Okay.
Our only president from New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce, was one as well. He wasn't outwardly saying, oh, you know, we need slaves everywhere, but he really didn't disavow it either. He never took any steps to stop it from happening. So a lot of people would say Buchanan and Pierce, they around the same time. Lincoln's vice president, his second term, who became president when Lincoln was killed, was Andrew Johnson. He was governor of Tennessee, the southern slave-supporting state. And he almost undid everything Lincoln did. He was the first president to be impeached. I believe he showed up to his inaugural address or whatever drunk. He was not a good guy. He only escaped impeachment by one vote. And a lot of people would say him.
What were they trying to impeach him for?
I forget exactly. He was just a corrupt guy. I don't remember the exact charges, so I'm not going to try to pull anything out of a hat and be wrong. But those would be up there. I know a lot of people now are saying Woodrow Wilson as well, and I could definitely see that too. He was president during World War I.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gave us the Federal Reserve Act too. Yeah. I don't like him. Man, so how about as far as like the history of the United States? Sounds like you're pretty good with history. What do you think?
Some areas more than others.
Some areas more than others. What do you think your strongest areas are, other than presidential history?
Well, I'm a big movie and music nerd. I know a lot about that stuff.
Pop culture.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Well, like if you were to look at all the presidents and the time in America that they, what do you think the most prominent time for America was?
Prominent in what way? Good question.
For the average person, as far as standard of living, quality of life, those types of things.
Well, I think that would be another one of my favorite presidents, Calvin Coolidge, during 1920s. I believe he's the only real libertarian, with the exception of maybe Grover Cleveland, that we've ever had as president.
Yeah.
He had a really, laissez-faire way of governing.
Okay.
And I mean, we call that period the Roaring '20s for a reason.
20s, yeah. So what has been your strategy for run for office?
Name recognition and doors.
Yeah.
I have signs all over Derry. At this point, you can't drive a major road in Derry without seeing one of my signs, which has been my goal. I actually just left my restaurant job last week that I've had for most of my high school time. Well, part of that's because I'm going to college and I wouldn't be able to do it in college anyway, but I left a little early so I could have the rest of this summer to door knock every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give myself Sundays off. That's why I'm here today. But Monday through Saturday, I'm going to door knock at least 3-4 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the pavement. I'm going to meet voters. And no other candidate in Derry is doing that, really. There's some incumbents that think they can write off name recognition and not do the work, which maybe they can. I don't know. They very well could make it into that top 10. Some of them probably will. But I don't think that's right, and I'm going to work for it. I mean, I know a lot of people might be hesitant to vote for someone that's 18. And one piece of advice I got from a young person in the State House right now was prove them wrong by your actions and how you speak. And I've tried to do that.
What are some of the biggest issues that you're hearing from voters?
Number one's been cost of living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the primary one. And one thing I've noticed door knocking, a lot of people don't know the difference between state and federal.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people, like, 'cause I try to knock some independent doors too, some that they might be toward the center, and some have said, well, you really need to rein in Trump when you get in there. and I said, well, I'm running for state office, so I wouldn't quite be able to do that, but what's one way we can send a message to him that New Hampshire is the best place to be, and the federal government should be a model of us? And they don't really have an answer for that.
That's good.
And during door knocking, and I'm sure you've seen this too from some political person, because you've met all sorts of people through this show. A lot of politicians like to just talk their spiel and stick with that, and that's it.
Yeah.
I really don't like doing that. Like, I'll give my basic pointers like I gave earlier. But when I'm door knocking, what I mostly ask people is, how can I best serve you? What issues can I champion if I'm elected for you?
Yeah.
And they like that. And I think that's a big reason I've gotten such positive feedback, is because I want to work for them.
Well, some people just want to be in and out.
Yeah.
And just get the vote and do whatever, then I have had people be like, oh, I'll come on for like a half an hour. And I'm like, I don't know. It's probably not going to be that good of an interview if you just come in and sit down for a half hour, do your stump speech and leave. Let's kind of get into things and, get people I like to get people to kind of unwind a little bit, loosen up, and try to show kind of who they are beyond the stump speech.
Yeah.
And I think people want to see that. And I think people need to see that.
Yeah.
Because in my area, there's all sorts of political fighting that is just noise. And a lot of people don't really know what's going on, and it turns them off from politics. So then what happens? Well, the wrong people get in office.
Exactly.
And then the wrong things start getting passed, and the budgets start blowing up. And next thing you know, you're living in a place like Massachusetts or Maine.
Yeah, and that's social media as well. And there's
big time.
And there's certain people in Derry, they know who they are if they're watching this, because I've noticed they're starting to track me a little more. Certain keyboard warriors in Derry that they think calling everyone a free stater is the key to all their problems. Anything I don't like is a free stater.
They're calling you a free stater?
Some of them have. I'm happy to show them my birth certificate showing I was born at Elliott Hospital in Manchester. They can call me up. They can.
And you want to know the funny thing is whoever's calling you a free stater probably moved here from California.
The one that called me, that's from Massachusetts.
There you go. Yeah.
But it's these keyboard warriors. They have no life.
Yeah.
They think that commenting about things is going to be the key to success, and I know from how I got involved that the key to success, key to getting things done, is showing up and talking to people face to face. When I've had a few of those comments, all I do is reply with my phone number and say, I'd be happy to talk to any of you one-on-one about the issues that are important. I'm trying my absolute hardest not to engage with any people like that in comments. And some people might say, well, you're ignoring voters then. And I guess there's an argument for that. But at the same time, I'm making myself more available than a lot of other candidates would by just giving out my cell to everyone.
Do you think arguing with them in the comments is going to change that person's mind?
No, and that's why I don't do it.
Why do it? Exactly. Yeah, no, I understand that. But there seems to be a mindset of just attacking people. They get into this mindset where they just attack people, and nothing you say will please them. You'll never change their mind. If they think you're a free stater now, they're obviously misinformed to begin with. And they don't want to be informed. They don't want to be informed.
Exactly.
And it's too bad. And I can say 10, 15 years ago, as far as local politics, a lot of people didn't even know there were state representatives. They just thought you vote every 4 years when the president, when the presidential election comes up.
Yeah.
And
like, I've met voters that have said, I forgot the midterms are a thing.
Mm-hmm. I was helping door knock for Dale Fincher in March of this year.
Yeah.
And I went to this one guy's house. It looked like a multi-unit place, so I put a thing on each door. And the guy pulled in as we were leaving, and I got out, and I talked to him, and he just went up one side of me and down the other because it was the day we started bombing Iran, and he just started losing it about the Iran war and the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war. And he went all the way back to the first Gulf War, which he was in. And I understood what he was saying. I agreed with a lot of what he said, and he was completely done with both parties. And I said, and I said to him, I said, Dale has nothing to do with this. This is a state rep position. And
so you were running into exactly what I ran into.
Oh yeah, and that I ended up getting stuck talking to that guy. Not stuck getting talked to that guy because I did listen to what he was saying. I wasn't the one running for office. It was Dale. I was out knocking doors for Dale, but I think that people just want to be heard. There is frustration, especially with like the affordability issue, and a war in the Middle East isn't helping with the cost of fuel, and now we have soldiers that are dying because of who knows what.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with state politics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to brush on quick, I should have mentioned it earlier when I was telling my story about what happened to me. Everything is still in court right now regarding that former staff member at Pinkerton, innocent till proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
It's all accusations until then. Just want to mention that just in case anything comes up.
Yeah, well, you didn't mention any names.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really worry about it.
Still.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine. But that is, that's where we're at, dude. I've never seen local politics so nasty.
Local's where it gets the most personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I helped a couple people over the last couple of years run for school board, run for town council. So
now, what does your school board look like? Is it, I guess it's supposed to be a nonpartisan issue, but do you think it's mostly liberals or mostly conservatives that win the local school board in your area?
On the Derry school board, there is 2 out of the 7 I would have voted for.
Really? In a Republican area?
Yeah, it is completely flipped on the town council, though. I'd probably vote for 5 out of those 7.
Okay.
So put it that way. And then all 10 of our state reps are Republican, not one Democrat.
Why do you think it's like that?
I think different people, I know different people come out to vote for the local election.
Do you think it's because of the time of the election?
Not just the time, but it's who comes out.
Okay.
It's all of the PTA parents. It's all the people that are involved with the teachers' unions. It's all them. Those people lean left.
Yeah.
I believe that's a big reason Dale Fincher lost here.
Yeah.
His election, well, there shouldn't have been a special election to begin with. They should have left that seat empty, my opinion. They did it with Salem earlier when a representative resigned there, as well as in Meredith when another representative resigned there. They could have left it empty. There was representation. I think it was a waste of money having that special election. And then now you have Boudman, your representative. But I think having it in March cost him that seat because it's a different constituency that comes out to vote.
Yeah. This is why the left is losing their minds about having a tax cap vote in November.
Exactly. And that's another reason some Republicans in Derry are fired up, is that some of our incumbent representatives voted against that.
Oh, really?
And they're all Republican, mind you. So with a couple of them voting against that, some people are going to notice that.
Yeah.
And I've been hammering that at the doors. It's not just voting for state rep. There's going to be a question at the bottom of your ballot that you cannot ignore. So you got to vote for that.
Yeah. Why do you think it costs so much more for education where Like over the years, it seems like it's never enough money. Like what is driving up the cost of education, do you think?
Spending money on things we don't need, mainly administration. I actually still sit on the fiscal advisory committee for the school district, where we basically help the school board build the budget. And number one thing I've seen it go up, besides all the construction bonds they did, which is a completely another story, but administration. We have a ton of new administration positions we don't need.
In your town alone?
Why does the Derry School District need a director of wellness? Why do we need a director of bullying safety?
Really?
How
much does that person make?
Don't quote me on it, but I believe it's 6 figures.
Wow.
Maybe a little less. But we don't need that. And there's a few positions like that I don't think are needed. And
is bullying that much of an issue?
There is bullying in every school district, but I don't believe it's enough of an issue where you need to delegate it to a completely different administrative level position. I think you can have an assistant principal or a principal or even a superintendent look into that.
How much are teachers making?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I know that they did just get a pretty good raise at the ballot from the new teacher contract.
But are they making 6 figures?
No.
But this director of bullying, does he direct who gets bullied? Like, what is the point of that job? What do they stop bullying? Like, is there ever going to be bullying? Like, is it ever going to disappear? Is it going to be like the people that, manage homeless in L.A.,
I wish I knew. Being on that committee is like been banging my head off a wall.
But you're time. Like, you got your sleeves rolled up and you're in it, like, doing the budget of the school, so...
What I can.
Yeah. But you're getting a first-hand look. I think you're probably been the closest one of anybody I've had on here that's actually worked on a school budget.
Yeah, and it certainly is a lot. We did get a new superintendent last year who has had, I believe on the budget standpoint, has had a better point of view on the budget than the previous one. I've enjoyed how he's done certain things. So it's been an eye-opening thing. And I'm looking forward to getting back into that later this year. What
has been the biggest thing you learned in that?
It's hard to cut. Very hard to cut.
Why?
Because the school board in Derry appoints who is on that committee.
Okay.
We do it a little differently. We do not have an elected school budget committee. They are appointed and they don't actually get a vote. That's why they're fiscal advisory committee. Okay. Stress on the advisory. School board picks who gets on. So it's all handpicked people from them. And I'm on there. There's 2 other decent people on there that want to cut things, but everyone else is just yes men.
Oh. When you get into the State House, are there any committees you want to be on?
Well, I'm going to have to do something that's lower commitment than something I might want to do.
Sounds like we need you on the education committee.
If I was not going to college, that's where I'd want to be.
You're going to have to go on the education committee. You're going to have to cut some time out for that. Because we need a guy that's been, fresh out of school. You're working on the budget with your advisory committee. That sounds like something that you would excel at tremendously.
I probably would, and I wish I could, but I do have to be realistic that my job is going to be a college student.
Mm-hmm.
So the committees I'm looking at are something like the Natural Resources Committee, which is a little lower commitment, but here in New Hampshire especially, it's a big deal. I'm in southern New Hampshire, the flatlands, and we're in the beautiful mountains right now.
Yeah.
These are things we got to protect. These bring people here. People want to move here for the scenery. As I mentioned, I love our geographic diversity here. So that's a committee I'm looking at. Fish and Games, another great committee.
And with that one, what are you looking towards? What are you looking forward to if you were on that committee? And what do you, as far as like what you want to get done or what you think needs to happen?
What I've looked at in that committee, as well as a couple others that are lower commitment, is that there isn't that much disagreement on committees like those. It's a lot easier to get things done across the aisle. There's not a lot of things that get voted down.
Yeah.
Everyone's working toward a common good, and it's not as cutthroat as some of those other bigger committees like education or finance or health and human services, things like that.
It's sort of like a battle.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, the battles need to be had,
yeah,
and we need to be on the right side of those battles. But I think I see myself getting more done on a committee such as that.
Yeah. And what was the other one? Fish and Game?
Fish and Game would be another, municipal and county, state federal relations and veterans affairs.
Do you do a lot of outdoor sports?
It's something I got to get more into. Since I've been involved, I met Representative David Love in Derry, he's someone you should have on. He's a good guy. He's going to get me into hunting, so I'm going to get out doing that. I love fishing, especially deep sea fishing. So,
yeah, that was one thing that during COVID was the value in was really started. You could really notice the value in hunting once the shelves were emptying out at the grocery stores.
Yeah,
when people were worried about, oh no, when are we gonna get our next food? Well, you have a bunch of good old boys that have deer just stashed in their freezer that they got plenty of food to go, for their whole family for a good year.
Yeah, like I said, my first memory is going to Market Basket after school.
Yeah,
that Friday before the world shut down, and the line was literally wrapped around like that. Where you had to walk around the store in a full circle to check out because everyone was panicking.
In high school, were they trying to force you guys to get vaccinated?
No. To their credit, we never had anything like that.
No?
When they ended masks, they shut up.
Okay. So when the vaccine came out, they weren't pressuring people to get it?
They advertised that you could.
Yeah.
They had some clinics for it if you wanted to get it, but there was never anything forced.
Do you think a lot of young people got it?
Many of my friends got it.
Okay.
I never did. I'm not necessarily anti-vax. I just never saw a reason to get it. Just as I've never seen a reason to get a flu shot.
Yeah. So you feel like people should have that choice to take whatever, put whatever in their body. Yeah.
Do whatever they want. I'm not going to personally. I've seen some things that have come up with the COVID vaccine with heart issues and things like that.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm going to stay away from it. If people want to take it, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah. I was listening to a doctor recently, and she was saying that they're starting to see a reduction of the of the heart issues. I forget what kind of doctor she was. I'm going to screw it up if I try it. But heart issues, that they're starting to see a reduction in issues with those, but there's been like an explosion in cancers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hopefully that is... What I saw over last week, I don't think I've talked about it yet, but Fauci just basically pled the fifth on 111 times.
I've never laughed that hard at a congressional hearing, watching senators just try to get something out of him, asking what color their tie is, and he pleads the fifth on that. I've never heard a senator throw the F-bomb at a witness.
Yeah, I was surprised at that.
Like Senator Moreno in Ohio. But all necessary. I think if Fauci hasn't showed his true colors already, he definitely did there. And I don't anticipate we're going to be done with that anytime soon.
Well, people are still defending him too.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. How after everything that happened, that people can still defend the policies that were put in place and the lying that happened and the censorship that happened. It's pretty wild.
What we talked about at the start of the show is him. Full stop.
Yeah. It was him. Yep. He should be held responsible for all of it at this point.
And he never will because of the auto pen.
Yeah. I thought I heard something that because of all the pardons that were put in place with the auto pen that they might be able to retract some of them, but it doesn't seem like they're really pushing that right now.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Crazy. So what are some of the things that you like to do in your personal life?
Oh, as I said, I'm a big movie and music nerd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big classic rock guy. I love concerts, especially at B&H Pavilion. It's one of my favorite places to go. All over New England, I like concerts. Like exercising. I like going on walks to the middle of nowhere. It's another reason I enjoy door knocking. Go out and walk, but yeah, I just like studying up on my passions, really.
Do you do a lot of hiking in your neck of the woods?
That's something I got to get more into. I was into that a little while ago, but kind of dropped off. We have so many great hikes here. My favorite's probably Mount Willard. I think it's the best view in the state with not as much work as some others.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, that's something I do got to get into.
Yeah. Have you teamed up with any other state representatives that you've been running with, or any other people that are running around the state? Like, I mean, if there's a lot of young people getting involved, like you were in with you were part of the Young Republicans group. Have you guys tried to pool resources together to try and get people out to vote and let people know that, hey, we have a lot of young people that are on the ballot?
Yeah, well, we're certainly making that effort. I mean, I'm good friends with people like Representative James Tebow from Franklin, Matt Brooks, who's running in Sandown. I know Sam Farrington out at Rochester pretty well. We've all made it clear that we're there for each other if we need each other. I'll be door knocking with Matt at some point soon, and he'll be door knocking with me. So, yeah, we're making that effort.
How surprised are people when they see somebody your age trying to run for state rep?
What'd you say? Sorry.
How surprised are people?
Well, sometimes when I hand people my palm card and they look at it and then look up at me and they're like, "Oh, you're pretty young." So some people are surprised, but like I said, the way you get around that is by how you act, by being knowledgeable about what you're talking about, how you conduct yourself. Yeah. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah. I ran in 2014 and I had an old woman try to talk me out of it. She's like, "You're too young. You're too young. Don't even get into it."
Yeah.
And like I said, things weren't as bad as they are now as far as the viciousness when it comes to attacking people politically. So you said that some people were starting to watch you a little more?
Yeah, like I said, some of the keyboard warriors just they're just adding me to their rotation of people to, talk bad about on Facebook, and I just don't pay attention.
Yeah. So there's got to be like a pocket of people like that in every community.
There's the loud minority that just wants to make noise, and they're not going to have the votes.
Do you have weekly protests over in your area?
Every Saturday morning, the No Kings people will crowd at the corner by CVS at the corner of Birch and East Broadway.
Yeah, there's some people in Wolfboro that do that.
Yeah, I imagine there is, and I'll wave.
Yeah,
say hello. They can do whatever they want, just as we hold signs at the dump every Saturday morning.
Do you?
Yep. Every Saturday morning, the Derry Republicans will hold our signs at Derry Dump from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Now, do you get more people involved that way?
Yeah, well, we get plenty of people that come by and say hello. We sign them up for our mailing list so they can get updates. And we're really just trying to build the bench. Derry needs some people to run for office locally, so I've certainly been on the lookout for some people as I'm door knocking that seem interested in getting a little more involved. We got to bring new people in.
What do you think drives people to get involved?
Caring about their community and caring about their money.
Yeah. Do you think that people worry about the future of New Hampshire in general as to what direction we could possibly go in? Because, I mean, wasn't it, I think it was you would know this because you're the presidential buff. Was it Reagan that said that freedom is always an election away?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I think some people are afraid we'll lose the New Hampshire way of life.
Yeah.
Like, we're really a diamond surrounded by a bunch of communist states.
Yeah.
Really. We have Maine with the two worst Senate candidates of all time, Vermont with Bernie Sanders, Massachusetts, whatever's in Canada right now.
Yeah.
We got all that around us, and somehow we are just barely above water as that last beacon of freedom. And I think some people are worried that we'll fall under at some point.
Yeah. I don't think we're that close to it. I think that there's been times where I've gotten worried that where it's a midterm year that we could potentially get turn more purple or more blue, but yeah. I don't think that we're in that much of I don't think we're in that much danger, because I think that the message on the Democrat side, and I've had Jonah Wheeler on, and we actually had a good conversation, but there's a lot of Democrats that are just pushing negativity, and people don't really like that.
I try not to be negative when I campaign. Like I said, I don't try to engage with those people on Facebook. When people debate me at the door, I just say, I hear you. I don't talk bad about my opponents.
But there's these people that go out every single week and they put up these signs and they upside down American flags, and they call everybody a free stater, and then they say that the Republicans are basically Nazis. Like, what drove me crazy about it was like right after like Charlie Kirk was assassinated, they're still out there calling Republicans fascists. And
I don't know if you can see it. I got my We Are Charlie Kirk band.
Nice.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to meet him.
Did you?
2021, I met him. Yeah, that was during COVID. We actually went down to Student Action Summit in Tampa, and I got to meet him. Wasn't very long, probably lasted 5 seconds. I have a very blurry picture of me shaking his hand, and you can't even see. You see the back of my head.
Yeah.
You don't even see my face, but I did get to meet him.
Yeah. So what was that about? Was he just talking about, was he speaking or?
Yeah. So Turning Point does a big event they typically alternate which city in Florida, but they do a 3-4 day event called Student Action Summit where they have all sorts of speakers come in. And I went that year. I begged and pleaded with my mother to bring me, and she said yes. And we went. It was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And, I think that's the whole point of Turning Point, was to get young people involved in politics, and it was really working.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah.
And that after he was assassinated, it didn't seem like there was any effort to turn down the temperatures.
There was very lighthearted attempts to, and it didn't work. And weirdly enough, the school board meeting after he was killed was the same meeting I wore that shirt, and I had all that stuff happen to me where I lost my scholarship. And during my update, that was one of the few times I actually ever got really political. I thank Charlie Kirk for putting me in that seat, because if I didn't go to that and I didn't learn a little from him and other people there, I wouldn't have been as involved as I was during COVID.
Yeah.
He gave me a little inspiration.
Yeah.
And I never actually asked the school board if I could say all that. So I got to say all that and watch them just eye me, being like, ugh. Which that showed their true colors to me.
Are you the only one really that got more active after COVID, during COVID, after COVID, politically in your school?
For the most part, yeah. I think COVID made people pay attention a little bit more than they would have, but I kind of stayed active. A lot of people knew me as the politics kid in high school.
Oh, really?
Which, they're not wrong. I didn't want to be completely known for that. I don't think anyone wants to. And I that's one thing I guess I kind of struggled with was, I'm more than that. But, I'm out now.
Well, there's a lot to that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to really want the future to be a better place to be that well into politics at that young of an age. Like, most people that get that entrenched in politics at that age, like they're socially liberal. They're to see young conservatives, it's really a breath of fresh air. Because what do they say? If you're not liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. If you're not conservative when you're old, you don't have a brain. But that's just saying that like young people are always going to be liberal and then you turn into conservative. But to see younger people, you were raised with conservative parents, so now you have conservative values. So it sounds like you had a pretty good parental structure, I would assume. Yeah, and a good family life.
Yeah, my parents divorced when I was young, so I did have. They both lived in the same town, which was very helpful. But yeah. I was back and forth between two parents, but they did a very good job raising me.
Mm-hmm. But they instilled some conservative values on you.
Yeah.
And did they talk politics with you, or like you said, they'll hold a sign for you, but other than that,
they're not really the type of people to be out doing things in general.
They're not activists.
But they're both kind of quiet people.
Yeah.
But
most conservatives are, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember being young when the news was on. They'd talk about it, and they'd say, "Oh, they're."
My dad used to listen to WBZ News Radio and used to yell at that all the time.
Yeah, yeah. COVID woke them up for a bit. Like I said, they'd go out to some school board meetings during that, but then after a while, they stopped doing that too.
Yeah,
which that's fine. That's 95% of voters. So,
Yeah. Who's your favorite politician in New Hampshire?
I don't have a favorite politician in New Hampshire. I think that New Hampshire's system is what makes it so well, and it makes it my favorite political system in America because, as you know very well from interviewing so many legislators, they're regular people.
Absolutely.
They're not really politicians like you'd have in the states around us. I mean, take Derry, for instance. We have a retired airline captain. We have a retired carpenter. We have an MIT-trained economist. We have a firefighter. We have a retired teacher. I could go on because there's 5 more. But we have people from all walks of life that are just doing this for $100 a year, most of them because they care. And I think that makes it so there's a lot of real, authentic people in our legislature, unlike many places nationwide and in the world.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I don't think I have one favorite person. I'm just thankful that we live in a system where I can get to know all these people, pick out what I like about each of them and discard the rest. Kind of like what Bruce Lee said when he wrote his book about Jeet Kune Do. Take what you like from this book and rip out all the other pages. So I try to have that philosophy when it comes to learning from everything, whether it be history or from any political discussion I may have with anyone. And I think if people had that mindset, we'd be a lot better off as a country.
Yeah. Are you a man of faith?
I am. I'm a Christian.
You are?
I'm coming from church today. I go to Gate City Church in Nashua. My family's gone there since the 80s.
Nice. And what has been when you knock on the door, when you're door knocking, somebody answers the door, what's the first thing you say?
Hello, how are you today?
Yeah.
Asking how they're doing is a good start. My name is Anthony. I'm running to be your next state representative. I just wanted to meet you face to face as a voter and see what issues you're passionate about and what I could bring to the State House if you elect me as your representative. That's how I open. And wherever it goes from there is where it goes. Yeah. Whether they just say thank you and close the door, or whether they want to talk, or whether they tell me to go away.
And it's mostly affordability when they do want to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's plenty of conversations that have gone well that have been quick. Like yesterday, I had someone say, "Oh, just win." And that was it. Like, okay, good. And some people want to talk for a few minutes and say, put up a sign and all that. It's just really interesting meeting the people in my town that I never would have met otherwise. That's why I say I feel so much more closer to my community than I ever have before by door knocking.
Has there been a memorable moment that stands out to you so far?
I met this one family. The husband wasn't home. I didn't get to meet him, but his wife was home, and she was a Sri Lankan immigrant. And I knew it would be a good door because they had a "Don't Tread on Me" flag over their front door. So I was like, okay, I'll knock on this door. I met them. They were so happy I knocked on their door. Like they were like, we've been waiting for a good Liberty candidate to knock on our doors so I could meet them and tell my husband about him and all that. They took my card. They wanted to learn all about me. And she said, I wasn't even going to vote in the midterm. I'm tired of Sununus and Shaheens. We're going to come and we're going to vote for you.
Awesome.
That was the best interaction I've had so far. And hopefully I have even more.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've had very few bad interactions.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been very blessed with that.
That's good.
Very lucky.
So what is your plan for the next 4 weeks? Just more door knocking, more? Are you doing any more media, or are you going to be utilizing social media?
I've been utilizing my Facebook, which you can follow, Anthony Henry for State Representative. And my website's anthonyhenry4nh.com, fornh.com. And, just going to keep those updated. Like I said, door knock 3-4 hours a day, every day.
What do you want people to know about you? Just so that they what do you want people to know about you to get like the best well-rounded impression of you, as to who you are and why they should vote for you, why you stand out from the others, what is your biggest argument for yourself?
I am younger than any of the other incumbent representatives in Derry. Unlike many of them, I've lived in Derry my whole life. I've seen it grow. I've seen the good and the bad, but I've seen how good this community of Derry can be. And I am running because I love Derry and I want to serve the community that's given me so much. I don't intend to, if I get in, do this for long. Maybe I'll be there 1 or 2 terms. I just want to do it while I can, while I'm in college, while I have the time, and serve. That's really it.
And where can people find you again?
You can find me on Facebook at Anthony Henry for State Representative. You'll see the picture of me in a gray suit. And my website is anthonyhenry.com.
Nice. Anthony, thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast.
And good luck in your primary.
Thank you. September 8th, Pinkerton Academy, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Anthony Henry, everybody.